friends, Romans, countrymen, let's talk about the Lord of Pain. This guy is metal. Take a look at this fella, man. This guy is the poltergeist. Maybe he's the Ancoltergeist. I don't know. Maybe he's the poultrygeist. That's spiritual chicken, buddy, and that's better commander, dude. Alright, check this out. The Lord of Pain, 3 black and a red, legendary creature, human assassin. It's a 5/5 with menace. Your opponents can't gain life. Whenever a player casts their first spell each turn, choose another target player. The Lord of Pain deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to the chosen player. Let's dive into this guy. Let's break down some rules. Let's theory craft. Let's talk about some cards you maybe have never seen before, because that's Poultrygeist, brother. But first, hit the subscribe button. Caress it with your fleshy appendage, with your blood and your bones and your meat pots. We have a Discord and we've got a Patreon. Check those out too. Okay, so whenever a player casts their first spell each turn, so you are a player. In order to maximize the number of spells you're casting, you want instant speed shenanigans. In Rakdos, it's a little tough to build an instant speed cantrip deck, but we're going to do our best with some of the strengths of the color combo. Blue is way better at this, but you know what? Black and red have some bangers. So another weird thing with this ability is that it says whenever a player casts their first spell each turn, the Lord of Pain deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to another player. So what if there are only 2 players left, right? But your opponent casts a big old spell. Well, you're dealing damage to yourself, I guess, man. But you know what? No pain, no gain, brother. And that's okay, because you can gain life. Your opponents cannot gain life. And it should also be noted that the Lord of Pain is dealing the damage. He's taking his big stinky finger and dealing that damage like a real TV monster, you know? So if you give him lifelink or infect, he's going to gain you life, or he's going to deal damage with poison counters, you know? That can be a win condition right there. Grafted Exoskeleton, Phyresis, Tainted Strike, Glistening Oil, these all provide a nice way to close out the game. Glistening Oil is kind of neat too, because it doesn't matter what his power is. He's dealing that damage anyway, brother. And of course, in red, we have cards like Fiery Emancipation, City on Fire, Gratuitous Violence, Angrath's Marauders. These can double, triple the damage. You know, you get a couple of these things out there that can be absolutely backbreaking. You also might want to consider Obosh, the Prey Piercer. So this guy's 5 mana, legendary creature, Hellion Horror. It's a 3/5, has Companion, but your starting deck can only contain cards with odd mana values and land cards. If a source you control with an odd mana value would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage instead. This guy is indeed odd mana value, and our commander is indeed odd mana value. And we should also mention that our guy is a human assassin. Probably pretty irrelevant unless you want to run Mary the Killing Quill. So this is 1 black, legendary creature, vampire assassin. It's a 3/2. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, exile it with a hit counter on it. Assassins, mercenaries, and rogues you control have death touch. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a hit counter from a card that player owns in exile. If you do, draw a card, create 2 treasure tokens. So you really have to bang in, deal damage. But in a removal heavy deck, this thing rips. Also incidentally counters graveyard strategies. So we mentioned instant speed, right? So on our turn, we can cast something and it triggers our guy. Alright, fine. Then we wait for everybody else to cast stuff, you know, deal damage that way. Well, we could do that, or we can maximize our instant speed shenanigans, maximize our damage. Red's really good at changing targets. The Lord of Pain's ability is pretty powerful. Your opponents will want to slaughter that dude, so they don't feel that pain, brother. But listen, you know, no pain, no gain. Like I said, the plane boss, the plane. Bolt Bend is a great card. Your commander is the thing you'll want to protect, so the ability to save him from a murder for 1 red mana is pretty tight. Now I love this card, the Wild Ricochet. 2 red for an instant. You may choose new targets for target instant or sorcery spell, then copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Wild Ricochet can target and copy any instant or sorcery spell, not just one with targets. Doesn't matter who controls it. So your opponent casts some big giant thing, you know what I mean? You're on the way to heaven, brother. These neat little spells can save your guy, or just copy a generally beneficial spell. Somebody does a big Genesis wave or something. You copy that shenanigan, brother. You also have red cards like Reiterate, Reverberate. Copy those ramp spells or tutor spells, something like that. And I like this card a lot. This is a newer one. It's called Return the Favor. Red for an instant has Spree. Choose 1 or more additional cost. +1, copy target instant spell, sorcery spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. You may choose new targets for the copy, or +1, and I guess, change the target of target spell or ability with a single target. Fantastic card, man. I love this thing. Now, red as a color is also great with wheels, but most are at sorcery speed. There are some sweet instant options though, like Sting and Study out there. 4 and a black instant, you draw cards, lose X life, where X is the mana value of a commander you own on the battlefield or in the command zone. 5 mana, 5 cards, and its instant speed. You also have Blood for the Blood God. 8 black, black, and a red for an instant. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature that died this turn. Discard your hand, draw 8 cards. This thing deals 8 damage to each opponent, then exile it. I know this is 11 mana, right? But if there is a board wipe, or if your plan goes well and you're marking things down, marking things out there, the mana value is the mana value, even if it gets reduced. Magma Quake, I didn't even know this was instant speed. But for spells with X in their mana costs, use the value chosen for X to determine the spell's mana value. So while this is on the stack, this is going to be whatever you pour into X plus those 2 little red pips. Add them together, brother. I got that ruling from Karavek the Merciless, who incidentally is not a bad include in a deck like this. He's a great reanimator target. Also from the same dude, alternative costs, additional costs, and cost reductions don't change the spell's mana value. Its mana value is still based on its mana cost. And that's the relevant ruling for a Blood for the Blood God. Now you also may want to consider some creatures with flash, man. The classic is Dual Caster Mage. This guy, he's been around, man. He's been slipping into commander decks since the beginning. Very interesting card. You also have this guy, Radiant Performer. 3 red, creature human wizard. It's a 2/2 with flash. When it enters, if you cast it from your hand, choose target spell or ability that targets only a single permanent or player. Copy that spell or ability for each other permanent or player that spell or ability could target. Each copy targets a different one of those permanents and players. You can copy the Lord of Pain's ability with this. It will hit you though, or just copy some dope effects that targets or wipe the damn board with a removal spell, any of that stuff. This card can create some real headache situations. And another neat old card here, almost 2 years ago since this set came out, but you have the Necron Deathmark. So this guy is 3 black, artifact creature Necron. It's a 5/3. This guy looks like he belongs in the 80s, but it has flash. It also has a Synaptic Disintegrator. When this thing enters, destroy up to 1 target creature, and target player mills 3 cards. You can choose who has to mill, and that makes this guy great in decks packing recursion. And we do have some of that here with Black Sun's Twilight. X and a black, instant. Up to 1 target creature gets -X until end of turn. If X is 5 or more, return a creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Alright baby, this is instant speed. Can get those indestructible monsters out. I don't know, man, this card's kind of bad, but like Michael Jackson kind of bad though, like bad Barbie bad. Now I leaned rather heavily in the instants. I created a $100 budget deck, not including the commander because it's 12 bucks, not even out yet. So I included this guy, the Mana Form Hellkite. So this is 2 red, creature dragon, it's 4/4 with flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create an XX red dragon illusion creature token with flying and haste, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. Exile that token at the beginning of the next end step. So this is nice for your turn, right? You make a nice little creature out there, but wait till someone attacks. Surprise blocker, baby. That's combat tricks, buddy. So I packed in lots of instant speed removal, but I wanted to highlight this guy because it's big damage at instant speed, but in reality it's going to cost you 3 mana. The Curtain's Call, so this has Undaunted, destroy 2 target creatures. It's an instant for 6 mana. Excellent, dude. It's party time. Buzzsaw those ladies at the damn circus, man. If there's any kids in the audience, listen, they know what they signed up for, alright? You go to the circus, a lion's gonna eat somebody. A horse is gonna trample on somebody's head. It is what it is, The motorcycles and that ball thing are gonna crash, or you're gonna get a buzzsaw to some lady. Anyways, man, very interesting sluggy commander with a couple different directions to go. You go with damage doublers, damage triplers, and then you can go with some direct damage, instant speed nonsense. You can go with Magecraft if you want. You can go with Group Slug. You can go with Infect, which is not a bad way to go. I love Rakdos, dude, and I love Pain. That's why I got married in the first place, Just kidding. If my ex-wife or her lawyers are listening, tune out for a second, lawyers, all right? I'm just talking to the bros out there. Thanks for watching. I love you guys. Nikki G, Better Commander, signing off.